So in these first couple weeks after Pentecost, as we've returned to ordinary time, we've been reading from these wonderful epistles, first of St. James and now of St. Peter. And we have to realize when we listen to these words that they are born out of the experience, the first-hand experience that these apostles had living with Christ, walking with him, hearing his words. And so when we hear St. Peter say to us today, "Since you have purified yourselves by obedience to the truth for sincere brotherly love, love one another intensely from a pure heart," we ask ourselves, well, where did this man get this? What does he mean? And quite possibly, he could have been referring back to the very incident that he experienced in today's gospel, where the apostles were walking with Jesus on the road up to Jerusalem, and they just didn't get it. They so profoundly did not understand what was about to happen, because Jesus was telling them about how he was about to lay down his life, about how he was going to love them and love them to the end. And they're arguing back and forth about, hey, did you see what James and John did? Oh man, they're always trying to get ahead of us. They didn't love one another intensely from the heart. They first had to be purified by the truth. And Jesus told them the truth. He said, "You know how the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and the great ones make their authority felt. But it's not going to be so among you guys. You have to be different. Look at me. Look at the Son of Man. I did not come to be served, but to serve." And they're going to see it Holy Thursday evening as he washes the feet of those same apostles. Even then, they've been arguing, bickering back and forth, whispering, jabbing. And our Lord shuts all that down with this radical gesture of love. And in that same night, he gives them the Eucharist, which will become the sacrifice of the cross, which the next day he will offer. This is the truth of what it means to love one another, to radically put the good of another ahead of one's own. And this is the truth by which these apostles were purified. They were tried in the fire, and they would drink the chalice that our Lord would drink, the chalice that they themselves would offer at Mass. They would offer the sacrifice eventually of their own lives in martyrdom, so that they could love each other intensely from the heart. This same calling is ours. We have to be purified by the truth of the word that we hear at Mass, the Scriptures, the Eucharist that we receive, and then we're called to love one another sincerely. And you notice that St. Peter says, love one another intensely. We have to love intensely, because that's how Christ loved us. We have to become what we receive. So may this truly happen to us. May our partaking of this sacrament, whether here at Mass or in a spiritual communion, if you're joining us on television, may it purify our hearts by the truth that we receive, so that indeed we may love each other intensely, not abstractly, but with a radical particularity. The person next to me, the person that causes me pain, my spouse, my children, my grandparents, my friends, whoever is in my life, that's whom I am called to love intensely, once I have been purified by obedience to the truth.